Hi, I'm James, and this is my take on reality. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Jibri from 90 Day Fiance. I call this video Jibri versus Everybody. If you guys are getting anything from the video or the content, please think about subscribing to the channel, support my work, and also share the videos if you can. Like, comment, leave your take down below. Let's get it. Now I call this video Jibri versus Everybody because in the tell-all, it seemed like Jibri was extremely hostile and he seemed extremely aggravated as to what was going on, and he was picking fights with everybody in the cast. And there was a question that while I was watching it, why is Jibri acting like this? And I think that the reason why Jibri is acting this way is because Jibri is trying to get his own show. And I think that in the annals of like 90 Day history and how a lot of these shows are kind of put together, the villain always piques interest in everybody. Like, if you really think about it, in any reality show, the most important person on the show is the person who seems the most toxic. The most toxic person on the show, a lot of times, would be the person who gets their own show. The person whose life is a mess seems to do the best. And that's just kind of how everything works. And there's nothing about Jibri or Meona which makes me think that the two of them are not opportunists. Like, there's a lot of speculation that Jibri and Meona were already married, which would explain why the parents didn't really break their neck to try to come down to the wedding, because they were already married. So there's no point me coming down to, do the show with you and miss opportunities at work or miss meetings at work or, inconvenience myself so that we can play along with this charade. So I'd rather just do the thing where we go to the big wedding and have the big ceremony like you had promised that you would do when you probably got married overseas, and we'll do it that way. That makes sense to me. What did make sense to me was why Jibri was so hostile just coming into the show. Oh, Ari, you just a dream killer. You a hater. You don't like me because I'm so pretty. Who gives a damn? Nobody is looking at Jibri and saying, wow, this guy is really put together. I'm really curious about his story. Jibri's story and Meona's story, honestly, was one of the most dry storylines in this season. Like, there wasn't a whole lot going on. The most they had was when Jibri was arguing with the mother. And I hate to tell you, like, in my account of everything, the mother was actually 100% right. Jibri's mom was 100% right. When you bring somebody into your house, if I have a daughter, and my daughter has a fiance, and she needs to stay in my house for some reason, okay, that's fine. But what's not going to happen is her fiance is not going to be walking around half naked in my house. Like, there's just some things that are lines that just don't get crossed, just out of normal common decency. Like, if a woman brings her son into the house with his fiance, the one thing she doesn't expect is that his fiance is going to be walking around with her cleavage hanging out, or her, the really short, tight shorts and the bottom of her butt cheeks hanging out, and her husband is sitting there at the dinner table. Like, there's just some things that, out of respect for me, make sure that you're walking around in a way that's respectful to me and my home. And that's not unreasonable. The conversations that the mother had, the time that she was pulling clothes out of the hamper, putting them into the washing machine, and she hands her a shirt. Here, look at this shirt that's buck tight. And the mother has a conversation. That seemed completely staged. Like, that, there was nothing real or genuine about that moment. Like, and then Meona supposedly went back to Jibri and told him, oh yeah, she went through all my clothes, rummaging through my clothes, telling me what I could wear. We need to get out of the house. Okay, yeah, maybe, whatever. But if you want to leave, leave. So there, problem solved. Like, there's nothing about their storyline which really stood out to me. The most interesting thing they had was the disagreement between Meona and the mother and the father. And then when he had a disagreement with his bandmate, because there's no opportunities there apparently for a band that's struggling to try to get into the American markets and be recognized that way, that the bandmate all of a sudden has a problem with Meona too. Like, okay, fine. He has a problem with Meona. Either you guys get over it or you don't. I mean, to be honest with you, aside from the issues that he has with Meona, your personal life is your personal life. If we doing band stuff and we're recording for the band and you can't make it or you can't do things, why am I going to tape a whole album with you if you can't even make it to the album recording? What makes me think that if this album actually does take off, because now you're on 90 Day Fiance and TLC has a whole franchise and it's super popular, and suppose the record did take off, like somebody heard that, let's go, it's so awesome, it's amazing, oh my god, the guy got a motorcycle helmet with two air hoses sticking out the back like he's an alien and plays the guitar, he's amazing, and it really takes off. If Jibri is barely making it to record the album, how is he going to tour for the album? How is he going to promote the album? I would also be concerned if I was in the band that if Jibri is out doing solo projects and he's spending most of his time trying to record solo projects, am I really helping the band by promoting you, or am I merely just a extra prop that's going to help prop you up into your next venture, which is your solo career? I would totally disagree with that. I would have more concerns with that than I would have with just Meona. If you're not committed to the band, it doesn't matter what you're doing with your private life or your personal life. That's just my opinion. So with all that being said, even that really wasn't that interesting. Because for everything that they do and all the gibberish that Jibri talks, which is kind of cool that he, gibberish speaking Jibri, they didn't really let the audience into their relationship. I know nothing more about Jibri and his relationship with Meona than I did when the season started. So I don't know how in the world he thinks that I'm going to watch a show. If they say they gave a show, Meona and Jibri, like the Family Chantel and the Black Serbs or whatever they call the show, I wouldn't watch that show because there's nothing to watch. I know nothing about them. They really don't have my interest. And then I get to listen to Jibri talk about, because I'm the dream and I'm going to rise to the mountaintop. And then when I get over there, I'm going to be on the other side of the mountain and I'm going to slide down because everything going to be downhill, yo. I mean, what? What are we doing? Nobody cares. And the one thing that Jibri has to learn about reality shows in particular is that the best reality shows require your life to be a mess. People don't watch reality shows because they want to see people's lives who are put together. Like, nobody is going to watch Real Housewives and the women are out there buying $15,000 and $20,000 handbags and they don't care about their life and they live in these big mansions. They got these big fabulous lifestyles and all that. The most popular characters on the Real Housewives were typically the people who went out and spent a whole bunch of money and pretended like they didn't care about their money. But then all of a sudden they turn around and you actually found out they were broke. And in Teresa Giudice, who was one of the more popular people from Jersey Housewives, she was on the cover of magazines and all that, and she was probably the most popular housewife. Not because she was awesome and she was such a great character and she was so well put together, but she was the most popular housewife because she was the only housewife that actually went to jail during the filming of the Real Housewives programs. So they got to talk about how she went to jail. She went from spending money like it was going out of style of building a mansion to all of a sudden her and her husband going to prison and her ex-husband, now I think he's an ex-husband, wound up getting deported. Those are the kind of storylines that people want to see. There's nothing about Jibri. Nobody wants to watch Jibri and Meona live their best life and move to California and we all pay for it by watching the show. It's just not feasible. So when it comes to Jibri, I think that Jibri's whole mentality and his whole motive for trying to go there and be as aggressive as he was is that Jibri is trying to get his own show and he's trying to be the villain. But the truth of the matter is nobody really takes Jibri serious. He's not Billy Badass. He's not very funny. He has some charm and some charisma, but it's lost on the fact that everything he talks about is gibberish. It doesn't mean anything. So with that, all that being said, I don't think that he's going to turn out as successful as he thinks he's going to be by taking that mode and taking that road during the course of the tell-all. We'll keep an eye out and see if there's anything that exciting that happens over the next episode or 2 episodes. I don't know how many of these tell-alls they plan on running, but For me, I think Jibri versus everybody is a losing plan and a losing prescription for everybody involved. It was just a waste of TV. My name is James. That's my take. I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I